You're listening to Radio Free Rhinecliff.
Welcome to Studio Property, the cinema broadcast for people like you. We're your clapboard cousins. I'm Doug Wartell.
And I'm Devin Irby. And this week we're discussing The American Friend, or should I say Oder, Der Amerikanische Freund, circa 1977.
Wait, what's it called in German? What's it called?
Der Amerikanische Freund.
Ow!
And of course, it's directed by Wim Wenders, who, as I have now learned, is Ernest Wilhelm Wenders, aka Wim Wenders.
I feel like you just dug all up in his past. Like, there's a reason people use aliases.
I've been taking German lessons for a little while now. Wim is never a name that I've heard in any of my little practice books.
How do you say "please mind your business" in German?
Please mind your business. That is not.
That's definitely his middle name.
Okay, I think you're right. I will work on that for next week.
Because I'm a Wim Wenders fan, and I had no idea that was his name. I just was like, oh yeah, of course his name was Wim. That's what they name their kids over there.
No joke. Right now, I'm reading. Honestly, this book has got to be from the 50s or 60s about Einstein.
Why? Is there a lot of racism in it?
No, it's just the book is like really old. I read a book on Mozart, and now I'm reading a book on Einstein. And my tutor keeps apologizing. And she's like, I'm so sorry if the science is boring. I'm like, the science isn't boring. It's just double hard because I don't understand it in English, let alone German.
But you're hopping those hurdles.
I am. I'm working on them. I would
not. I'd be frozen there like this. Like,
I wouldn't say I'm hopping. I am painfully crawling over top of those hurdles.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's been really hard. But yes, so back to our friend Wim Wenders. And then, of course, he's got his cinematographer, which I cannot say in German, buddy Robbie Mueller.
I just call him Robbie Mueller. Robbie Mueller?
I mean,
I guess it's Robbie Mueller.
Well, yeah, it looks like Mueller, but the U does have an umlaut. So it'd be Mueller. And I know somebody out there is going to... So it's spelled M, Motley Crue U, L-L-E-R. That is correct. And I know somebody out there is going to be like, she didn't enough. Motley Crue U is
That's a YouTube comment I've not yet gotten. I've not yet read that on anyone else's channel either.
All right. Well, somebody's going to be like,
I hope so.
Stupid American girl can't pronounce things correctly.
Well, I'm going to read some copy here because it's going to be a very different episode than we've ever done before because I've been so excited to do this movie because like I mentioned before, it's a shatter point for me. This is like probably the film, Wings of Desire, maybe first. And then this one is where I actually fell in love with cinema itself, not just Wim's work. Or what's his real name again?
Ernest Wilhelm Wenders.
Which means Wilbur, right? That's Wilbur.
Yeah, I think so. Probably something like Wilbur.
Yeah, I mean, wow, what a deep dive we're about to do. So I'm going to read some copy here, just to calm my own nerves.
Read it to me.
The American Friend is about getting out of your murderous business obligations by tricking a terminally ill stranger into doing them for you. The movie has more in common with Blade Runner than, say, Ripley's Game, much to the chagrin of the book's author, who gave director Wim Wenders first crack at the then unpublished manuscript. Dennis Hopper and Bruno Ganz share top billing on this picture, but the real star is the cinematography of Robbie
Mueller.
Umlaut, who frankly should have entire temples built in his honor, specifically by the hands of film Twitter kids sporting A24 t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what, you can't imagine how many LUT presets in your editing software are actually replications of something Robbie Mueller did with an analog camera, natural light, and the circumstances of a given shooting day. He invented a brand new way to create a film noir atmosphere, and he did this by leaning on the help of the background players of our 64-pack of Crayola crayons with the sharpener on the back. I'm talking about Aquamarine, Mulberry, Thistle, and Indian Red, who all make welcome cameos during a suspenseful murder scene most fans of modern action films would likely check their phones through. But regardless, this is not just one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of your favorite director's favorite films of all time. And I can't wait to get to it. Devin, hit the theme song. God damn it!
Put that prop gun down, put back the canisters you stole. The devil laughed out loud when you signed away your rotten soul. That studio property, your studio property. Hey! Shut your mouth or you'll never work in Hollywood again. Hacha.
Okay, at this point, after that intro, all I want to know is, what do we call Indian red nowadays? It's definitely not Indian red anymore, right?
No, it's probably like brick red, right? Or something like that.
That could be. Maybe it's brick
or
red.
cinnamon.
Maybe
right?
it's cinnamon.
But we have to talk about this movie, The American Friend.
The American Friend is based on Ripley's Game, which is the third of Patricia Highsmith's Tom Ripley books. The most famous, of course, being The Talented Mr. Ripley, which has had, and
Right.
it's had several versions made of it. Ripley's Game has had several versions made of it, but there are 5 books and they're known as the Ripleyad, which somehow makes me giggle because I think it's very pretentious.
My favorite kind of pretentious.
And the basic storyline is, or let me clarify,
I mean, it's not even half-ass pretentious. Like it's
full pretentious.
full on ramp.
Oh,
yeah.
it's full
Up
on.
the ramp,
Oh, yeah.
over the shark,
Oh, yeah.
lands clean,
Oh,
leather
yeah.
jacket, Hawaiian shorts.
100%. 100%. So I'm going to clarify, as in how I'm going to describe the plot line is based on the movie's take on this story, which is obviously slightly varied from the book. Okay. So the movie's take on the story is our protagonist, sociopath Tom Ripley,
Yeah.
has an art scam going. And the art scam is essentially, there was an artist that he knew, a painter that he knew, who faked his own death and still paints. And then they basically he sells paintings, which are in fact by the correct artist, that supposedly should be rare now because he's dead, but they're new.
Right.
So it's like a whole
Right.
thing.
Not for nothing. Pretty great scheme.
I mean, it is a pretty brilliant scheme. I mean,
you
no
know.
joke. And of course, I have to say, as a complete aside, the artist, he's so weird, which is exactly what I would expect from
Right.
a painter who has faked his own death to make some money. But also, he's kind of living in squalor a little bit, and clearly still getting gypped by Tom Ripley, though, because Ripley's clearly not giving him even a fraction of what he's making off of this art,
Right.
which we learn
Yeah.
in like the second scene of the film. Because
Right. Which takes place in Hamburg, Germany, where these paintings are being
Exactly.
sold. Right.
So essentially, while we're at the first auction, where we get an idea of what is happening, we meet an art restorer / art framer by the name of Jonathan Zimmerman. And Jonathan,
played by one Bruno
played by
Ganz,
Bruno Ganz.
famously who played Hitler. And anytime anything goes down on the internet and you see that one Hitler clip from The Downfall, that is Bruno
Yeah.
Ganz, right? And also he was in Wings of Desire. He was the main character in Wings
which
of
is
Desire.
on our list here coming up. We are going to be watching,
Oh, I
Wings
can't
of
wait.
Desire. I'm very excited
Yes.
too. So yes. So poor Bruno Ganz / Jonathan Zimmerman makes the mistake of insulting Tom Ripley during this auction. So then we progress to our friend, sociopathic Tom Ripley, who has a criminal,
As he's known on the street. Yeah.
as he's known on the streets.
Yeah.
And he is obviously friends with the criminal element, specifically a criminal named Reeves Minot. And Reeves says, "Hey, Tom, I need you to kill someone for me. You owe me." And Tom's like, "Honestly, this just seems like an unnecessary murder. And I only murder when it feels necessary. So no, thank you. However, I know this guy, and I kind of think we can sucker him into doing the murder for you."
Because at the auction, he learned that guy had a terminal blood disease.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is not clearly said, but sounds like more than likely he has leukemia.
Right.
So, yeah. So basically, Tom sets up sort of this weird little elaborate game, i.e. Ripley's Game, where he basically makes Jonathan believe that his doctor is lying to him, and that he's in worse shape than he thinks he is, and that he's dying very soon. And since he's not somebody who's very wealthy and he wants to leave his wife and child, by the way, we see a lot of little child in the film, and he's adorable. And it's clear that Jonathan loves his kid. And if you've listened to our show at all, I love an adorable child in a film. And his name is Daniel, little Daniel. Little Daniel. And he's so cute. Right? So cute.
I can see him now in my mind. Oh, little Daniel.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So basically what they've done is because they've made Jonathan think that he is going to be dying very soon.
Well, at this point, he at least suspects it.
Yes, he suspects it. So it allows our
Through
criminal...
the power of rumor, which in 1976...
And of course, this is pre-internet, folks. So the rumor is working. So, he doesn't really have a good way of checking up on it. So the rumor is working. And so our criminal friend Reeves Minot basically is like, hi, I have a proposal, which is I will pay you a lot of money to murder someone for me. And that'll leave your wife and child in good shape when you die, because we all know you're dying soon. Oh, but just to make sure you feel good about it, I will send you to the American hospital in Paris to a very good doctor just to double check that you're actually dying soon. So Jonathan,
I want this free hospital.
I don't want to murder anyone
at the American hospital in Paris, because that is highfalutin medical service he'd be getting. Yeah,
precisely.
Primo.
Precisely. So of course he goes to Paris. He gets this primo healthcare. The problem is he gets primo healthcare, but then our friend Minot fakes the results and is like, "Oh my God, you're dying
kill
next
this guy
week.
for me.
You should totally take this job
for $250,000."
Which translates to how much in today's world?
$1.5 million. I think it's like 1.37 specifically. It's like, 1,375,000, something like that, which is almost 1.5, right? So that's right. But if you think you got 2 months to live and you want to leave your kid and your wife something before you cut out, like, you're going to take the opportunity to get this one, get this nut and bounce.
All of our listeners can say, I have high morals and I wouldn't do it. But you'd all seriously think about it.
Yeah, but you know what? They're listening to a cinema podcast. I bet you they think they have high morals.
That's true. They probably do.
They definitely think so.
But I'm telling you.
That must be cool for you.
Yeah, to be. Yeah. But I'm still convinced that quietly you're all like, I'd consider. I might say no, but I'd think about it. But our poor friend Jonathan ends up saying yes because he thinks it's the... Eventually.
Like at first he says no. He resists a while.
He resists. And so, yes.
Long enough for you guys listening to feel comfortable.
Yes. And I would agree with that. And I liked that. It was really a no until he really felt like
he had no other choice.
He had no other choice. Yeah, till he had no other choice. So yes, he murders someone.
Now, this is the first time you've seen this film.
Yes.
Which is really exciting for me.
It was exciting for me too, because I know it's one of your all-time favorites. And so I was so excited.
Up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was super excited to see it.
Would you agree that the main character of the film is its own atmosphere?
199% yes. The atmosphere of this film was utterly magnificent. And I can tell you the exact moment I knew I was just in it. And it wasn't necessarily Dennis Hopper or Bruno Ganz. It was absolutely the atmosphere, the way it was shot, the way the whole thing played out. I was absolutely sucked in. It was so good.
Now, to talk about Robbie a little bit more, because I only learned this in the last 5 or 6 years, that Robbie Mueller had shot every one of the impactful films, that at a certain time period, it was just the right time, right place, a specific batch of movies came out throughout the years, not just in one decade or two, but it was a specific kind of cinema being made that I had no idea he himself was shooting by himself, right?
Yeah.
He shot Kings of the Road, which is another Wim Wenders movie. He shot Repo Man, one of my all-time favorite movies. Down by Law, Jim Jarmusch movie with Tom Waits. Paris, Texas, which is incredible, right? Another Wim Wenders movie. Dead Man with Johnny Depp. Barfly, Mickey Rourke, Faye Dunaway. That's an incredible film. I believe that's a Cannon movie, which we'll have a conversation about soon. Mystery Train Breaking the Waves
Ooh.
in that Bjork movie. He shot that Bjork movie too.
Which I'm sure
did
was
shoot the Bjork movie.
beautiful.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
I mean,
I never saw it either. I hadn't seen it either.
Yeah, I did not watch it.
He also shot Ghost Dog.
What? Really?
He shot Ghost Dog. Yeah, he shot Ghost Dog. And he also shot I don't know if you remember this. This is going way back. The breakdancing movie with Lorenzo Lamas.
Really?
Yeah, he shot Body Rock. Yeah, he shot that weird
all right.
art house movie about breakdancing.
Which honestly, I know it's
Robbie
not.
Mueller shot
It's not on our upcoming. It's not on our production list. But
it will never be on our upcoming
I don't
production
know.
list.
I might wear you down and be like, "Let's do it. Let's do Body Rock."
We already have April Fool's Day booked, so and not this year.
I was gonna say maybe April Fool's Day next year we can do Body Rock.
Oh my god! So Robbie Mueller, just to go over his track record a little bit, he's won 3 NSFC awards for best cinematography, 4 German Film Awards for the same, 2 NYFCC awards, and a Bavarian Film Award, and that was just for Paris, Texas. And he's gotten 11 other nominations. That still doesn't seem enough for the influence that he would have on us later. And also the documentary that's about him, which is available on Amazon, I can't recommend because it's terrible.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like it was just like thrown together as an afterthought.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah, it's awful, unfortunately.
Was he ever nominated for an Oscar?
No.
That seems really wrong and disappointing. But I also feel like as much as I enjoy the Oscars, they continue to disappoint me. Like they continuously disappoint me.
Since the English Patient year, they've been
I would agree with that.
At least suspect.
Yeah.
At least suspect.
Like everything's questionable since then. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've only had like a
reality, I think, became questionable right about then.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know. But I'm gonna tell you a story.
Okay. You know I love a good story.
About how this filming of this movie began. Because, John Cassavetes was originally cast to be Ripley. And he couldn't do it. For whatever reason, we can speculate. 76, Mikey and Nikki's about to come out. Whatever he's about to shoot next, I don't remember the chronological order, so I'm not going to just say things on microphones. But I will say that he definitely recommended Dennis Hopper. Now we're going to play a little game called Imagine You're the Boss Man. Right? Imagine you're the employer. You are the director of a film that is about to start shooting. You have to pick up the star of your film, who you know is coming from another set. But what you don't know is that he's coming directly from another set. And also, because the film he's shooting doesn't come out for another 3 years because of its own drama, right? You don't even understand what you're about to see in front of you. But as I report it to you, Devin, not only do I think you'll get it, but the audience will understand where Dennis Hopper had come from.
Okay.
He gets off the plane already on drugs. He had taken a whole bunch of drugs on the plane, right?
All right.
He's disoriented when he gets off the plane in wearing army fatigues. He's unshaven. He has long, unwashed hair that's like tied up in a bandana. Vim described him as smelling like he hadn't showered in days.
Okay.
Right? He has beads around his neck. Oh, and 9 prop cameras. Does that sound familiar to you?
It does sound familiar to me. Yeah.
He also, and this will bring it on home, is covered in jungle sores that are still bleeding.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
For those of you who don't know, Dennis Hopper literally came off of the set of Apocalypse Now, did not go back to his trailer, did not pack. He went right to the airport, still in his costume, when he arrives at Hamburg to be greeted by Wim Wenders.
That's insane.
He's limited, again, another one of those limited edition people that, it's both good and bad. They're never going to make another one.
No.
Needless to say, Upon seeing him, Vin immediately admitted Dennis Hopper into a hospital so he can get cleaned up, get the jungle sores taken care of, and rehydrated from all the drugs he had taken.
Phew.
Yeah. So production was a little delayed, to say the least.
And I'm sure everybody on set was a little perturbed.
I've never shown up to a job like that, but have wanted to.
Oh, God. Agreed.
So what is the scene you'd most like to talk about
Oh.
first?
Easy. The first hit. It's after Jonathan has gone to Paris and after the whole hospital thing, and he's been told with his fake test results, you're going to die next week, basically. Do this hit. And so
Right.
the whole sequence of him essentially getting through his first ever murder.
You made it sound like a baby boy.
I did kind of make it sound like a baby book.
Yeah, like, he got to do his first. We got through his
Got through
first little murder.
First little murder.
Yeah.
Because that's
yeah.
kind of,
And now he's wearing underwear. No more diapers.
but that's kind of how that sequence played out to me. So, two things. One, it is how it played out to me. First, that was the moment I understood your love for Robbie Mueller, because
Oh, right.
that entire sequence is 100% visual. So, for anybody who hasn't actually seen the movie yet, there's no music, there's no real dialogue. It is completely visual. I mean, there is sound, but it's
Right.
completely visual.
Well, there's a little. It's sparse.
very-
the music is there, but
it's
it's
really
very
sparse.
sparse. And who composed the music again, really quick?
Oh,
Because
Jürgen Nieper. It looks like,
his name is mine. What?
okay, I don't know if he's German. It actually kind of looks like maybe he's Scandinavian. So like
How do you
Danish.
spell
Okay,
it?
Jürgen is J-U with an umlaut, R-G-E-N.
So it's J, Motley Crue, U,
R-G-E-N.
R.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But
Okay.
his last name, here's the thing where this, like I said, I don't know if he's German or if he's Scandinavian, because it's K-N-I-E-P-E-R. And I think as English speakers, we want to say Nieper, but I think it might
Right.
be Knieper, because a lot,
That would sound more fun.
It is
to
a
me.
lot more fun.
I would go with Knieper.
Knieper,
Yeah.
because I
Knieper,
believe
yeah.
the K is frequently pronounced. When it's a KN, I think it's frequently pronounced in a lot of the Scandinavian languages.
So it's not. Oh, whereas in English the K is
Whereas
silent.
in English, the K is silent. Because
Right,
apparently at
okay.
some point, English speakers were like, listen, I don't have time for that.
Mind your business.
Mind your business, K. I don't have time
Right.
for that.
Stand down.
Stand
K.
down. And the Dutch
Right.
were like, no, we keep it. It's Knieper.
You don't tell K what to do. It's got two kickstands, has perfect balance. It's the consonant that looks like it's about to do karate, which is also spelled with a K.
That's right. It's the
Right,
best description of the letter K I've ever heard. Looks like it's about to do karate.
I'm doing word association gymnastics right now because I'm drinking my coffee, which is from Hawaii.
He's aggressively caffeinated right now, folks. Aggressively caffeinated.
Yes, I very much am.
So our friend Jürgen Knieper did the music, but you're right. His score does not hit you over the head. It's subtle. It works.
Well, the thing is, it's doing a duet with the camera work.
Yes, it is.
One scene doesn't. There's no cross dissolves into next scenes.
No.
Sometimes scenes feel like they're almost end too short.
Yes. Yes.
There are moments where the film feels like it's skipping because
Yeah.
it's like,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of jarring, but it's intentional
Right.
because it asks you to sort of be a fly on the wall and not really be invested,
That's
which
a
is
really
an
good
interesting
description.
approach.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach, but it's also a really good description because you
Thank
do
you.
feel slightly removed.
Yes.
You've taken a step back, and that's a nice way to see such an absurd, intense story, because it is absurd and intense. Because this idea of you have a chronic illness that is likely going to kill you in the somewhat near future, and now you've been tricked into thinking it's going to happen almost immediately, and
Right.
the only way you can take care of your family is to murder someone. That is absurd.
Right.
That is absurd. And there's a reason the book is called Ripley's Game, because it's chess. It's aggressive manipulation of people's emotions.
By the way, I didn't know if you knew this, but every criminal in the film, including the artist, by the way,
Okay. Mhm.
is a director.
What?
Wim
Really?
Wenders did that on purpose. Yeah. Because, Dennis Hopper is also a director.
Oh, I
Yeah.
really didn't realize that. So who are...
Incredible Dennis Hopper film, by the way, before we even get to it, that he directed. If you ever get an opportunity to see the movie Out of the Blue, it's a character piece. It's a slow burn, but definitely incredible. It had won, I believe, like the Sundance Award at the time, 1980.
Okay.
Great movie. It also is the movie that got him the gig on Colors, I believe.
Okay.
By recommendation of Sean Penn and Madonna, who had seen Out of the Blue. Fun fact there. But yeah, the directors were Gerard Blaine, Samuel Fuller, Peter Lilienthal, Daniel Schmid, and Nicholas Ray, and I want to say John Eustache. He played a friendly Frenchman in that film. But I'm not sure I pronounced any of those things right.
Good enough for me. Or as Grandpa Irby would say, good enough for government work.
Let's dive into this hit.
Okay.
So we can't play a clip.
No, we cannot play a clip because there's no
audio.
Audio. There's no dialogue.
Ready? We could have lied. We could have been like, and here's the clip.
Oh, that's funny.
That's it.
Yeah. So our criminal friend has essentially tried to get Jonathan. He kind of talks him through it. This is what's going to happen. We've figured it out. And the guy that we need you to murder, the best way to do it is on the Parisian subway on his way to work. And you want to do it between this stop and this stop. They show him a photo. And of course, he's like, I can't, one photo isn't going to help me recognize this guy. I don't have confidence in shooting someone with one photo. Right. And they're like, no worries, we got you covered. My creepy henchman is going to ride with you and he's going to point him out and then he's going to exit the train. So that way it's not obvious.
I mean, as first murders go, he was very helpful.
He was very helpful. I mean, I guess if you're new to murder, if you're new to the hit, the job of the hit, I mean,
no judgment. Just saying, like,
no judgment.
If you're new to it,
you need somebody to help you through it, I guess.
You don't learn anything right away. There's, But yeah, I mean, it was really great planning on Mr. Minot's part. That atmosphere and the colors of that train and those stations and the clothing. Every
decision is intentional, and you can tell. You can tell it's intentional from the part of production. Every the trench coat and the whole it's your classic camel color trench coat with a plaid lining on the inside, and you only know that because they've cut a hole into the pocket so that way he could put the gun in the pocket and shoot from inside the coat. Little details like that are amazing.
And there's a moment, of course, where he's sitting down on the bench and the barrel is sticking out. And he's almost like, because he's so scared and so nervous, he sort of glances, he has to glance down at his leg to notice that the gun is sticking out, which is a great, great moment. Another great moment is when he makes eye contact with the target.
Yes. And I felt in that moment, like, as an American audience member, you immediately like, oh my God, he's going to figure it out. The guy that he's trying to murder is going to figure it out. And that's not what happens. It's a very casual, we awkwardly sometimes make eye contact with people on public transportation and nobody wants to do it. So we sort of like, oops, hi. And then, look away and kind of play it off. Whoopsies, right?
Wasn't staring at you, but kind of was. Yeah.
But kind of was, which is such a human thing to do because public transportation is awkward. And that is what you do. And it felt very real.
Yeah. And right before then, he managed to bump his head on a dumpster that was in the station, and then he's bleeding from the head. So when he encounters his target, it's even more awkward because he's the most suspicious person in that train car, holding onto his head with a napkin. That's like, because his head is bleeding. He's wearing a trench coat and he has one hand in his pocket.
Yeah. Oh, that was brilliant. But somehow manages to follow this guy without being caught, finds his moment weirdly while going up an escalator and lets the guy get kind of far up. And he gets up a little ways himself before he shoots. The guy tumbles, falls forward. So he keeps his body keeps riding up the escalator. And poor Jonathan, like, weirdly is like, shit. And then turns around and has to run back down the escalator the wrong direction to take off.
When he plugs that guy, It is one of the most realistic murder scenes I've ever seen in a film, because he's going through all of the emotions of a first kill situation, like where he's, I mean, not that I know what that's like, allegedly.
Allegedly. Me either, allegedly.
But he's running down the escalator in a panic, scared, a little sick. Thankfully, he's holding on to his head.
Yes,
he's getting by some of the camera.
The handkerchief to his head because he's bleeding.
But he manages to get out of the station and he lets out a laugh. And how did that laugh read to you?
Not cold at all. Not like a cold killer. It read as, oh my God, I just did the most insane amoral thing that you could possibly do. And somehow I've come through the other side and I've made it out. And holy crap, just a massive amount of relief, right? So it was it just reads as this real aggressive, oh my God, did I just do that? Oh, I did. Oh, I think I'm okay. Oh, shit.
That's exactly right. Like it's almost like his endorphins come vomiting out of his mouth.
Yes.
One of the most remarkable things about that scene, every choice Bruno Ganz makes from the time he pulls that trigger to the moment he's outside that train station, every single choice he makes, mind you, no dialogue.
Right.
Every choice he makes is just a masterclass in how to do that thing. And it's remarkable, and it's for the ages.
I mean, arguably, that is also the moment where I was like, why doesn't Bruno Ganz have his own masterclass? He should. I'd watch it. Yeah, I bet it'd be amazing.
He passed away,
Oh, son of a.
There's that.
Sorry. My bad.
But he had plenty of time to get one.
Right? It's been around.
He had plenty of time to get one.
It's been around for a while. He could have had one before he died.
He could have invented it.
I'm going to look straight into the camera now.
It didn't occur to him.
I know this, but like it would have been an amazing legacy. And then we could have watched him and like, I'll only get like a tiny percentage, like a tiny fraction. Will I be able to absorb?
We would take turns wrecking his legacy. Be like, oh yeah, Woody. I hope you enjoy this podcast because we are students of Bruno Ganz.
All right. I mean, maybe you're not wrong. But I still contend I would have really enjoyed a Bruno Ganz masterclass.
Yeah, it would have been.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But that being said, the film takes a different turn.
It does.
It does. It becomes a few different films, actually. This scheme is complete. He executes the man for this gangster that was actually owed the favor from Tom Ripley in the first place. But he mentions to Tom Ripley that he wants this man to kill again. And he believes he'll do it.
And our friend Ripley is like, no, he won't. That was not our discussion.
While Ripley is going back to New York for another bundle of paintings from his now eye-patched artist.
Also, can we just talk about that for a split second?
Yeah, sure.
15 seconds. Where did the eye patch come from? He didn't have it in the beginning.
No, he mentioned earlier that his eyes were going bad.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, why do we have an eye patch now? What's going on with the eye patch?
I feel like that was just to prove there was a continuity director on set. Because that was like, he was like, early in the film, he's like, my eyes bother me. And then like later on, he's got an eye patch. Like later on, he's David Bowie,
Maybe it's just another level of Wim Wenders'
homages.
Thank you. Yeah. Or just his intelligence and his high level of, I can't think of the word.
Magic.
Thank you. It is another level of Wim Wenders' magic that he was like, and now there's an eye patch. Yeah.
So as he's in New York, Ripley gets a crisis of conscience while walking on the median of the West Side Highway, which, by the way, is my screensaver. I'm not joking. That's the screensaver in my computer, is that shot. That's how much I love this movie.
I love it.
Yeah, he's shot from behind in his cowboy hat and cowboy boots, walking in real life on the median of the West Side Highway. Not in the middle median, but on the left side. So on the right side of him is traffic, and on the left side of him is the street below.
Right.
And he's walking on that median in cowboy boots. I don't care if he took 4 steps and they were like, cut! Those are 4 steps too many. if you
Yeah.
want to remain alive.
It's horrifying. I had a minor panic attack during that scene. I was like, what is he doing? What is happening?
But
I
again,
really
you saw the
panicked.
4K. You saw the 4K restoration.
I did.
Right? Yeah.
I saw the 4K restoration, and I did. I had a
That
panic
shot
attack.
is so beautiful, though. It's such a beautiful shot.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for giving us that, Dennis Hopper.
The way he's talking to himself during that moment. So that shot is stunning. I had a minor panic attack because I was like, oh my God, if he falls, that's insane. But at the same time, he's verbally speaking to himself and having a crisis of conscience. And it's really funny where he's like, you could just see it's like our version of, damn it, I am not okay with what's happening. It's that version of that. And it's really funny.
And I might have had a hand in it. I don't feel good about it.
Crap, it might be my fault. Like, it's a real sort of, damn it moment. And I loved that while he's freaking me out and every other viewer out by walking on that damn median.
And the traffic below out.
Yes, with the traffic below.
But I would have to say, this is the moment where it ceases to be a Ripley film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is where he deviates from the character. And Patricia Highsmith, right?
Highsmith. Patricia Highsmith.
The other white meat, like, says to Wim Wenders when she screened the film the first time, I don't know what you did to my book, but that man's not playing Ripley. He's not Ripley, and this isn't what I did, and I don't like this, and walked out. And that broke Wim Wenders. That broke his heart. Like, he was very, very upset by that. Later on, she would come around. She had seen like a public viewing of it, and she enjoyed Dennis Hopper's performance. Really loved the train station scene. She specifically pointed that out. But yeah,
because it's spectacular.
Scene. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to agree with her initial assessment that this is no longer a Ripley story. And this is where it ceases to be Ripley's game and becomes the American friend.
Agreed. Yeah.
We'll start with Dennis Hopper returning to the shop.
Yes.
He knows this man has murdered someone, but he also knows that he's being forced to do it again.
Right.
And he kind of bonds with Zimmerman.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an electric chemistry with these two actors and it begins right at that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree.
Like, the two of them are playing off of each other. I don't know if you know this, like, the two songs that Bruno Ganz sings in the shop are Kinks tunes.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then Dennis Hopper promises him that he's going to bring the Beatles back to Hamburg.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I don't believe that's true. I don't think you're telling truth. And I think he goes into like a second of Baby, You Can Drive My Car or something, right?
He does.
Yeah. But there's a really wonderful rapport between the two of them. And I'll tell you where that comes from. Because it's something that started in real life. And this is important to why the film is even called what it is. So Bruno, I mentioned earlier, Bruno Ganz is a meticulous, studied actor, right? This time, this point in his career. He is, even while Dennis Hopper's sort of detoxing and getting rehydrated, like, Bruno Ganz has not left his trailer. He's studying his lines. He wants to understand every scene. He's very professional. By the time Hopper does get to set, Hopper's very loosey-goosey. When Bruno Ganz witnesses this, it bothers him. It it gets skin crawling to him to watch some man trying to improvise. I don't know if you noticed, like, the selfie scene, as it's called now, because it predates the selfie. It's him Dennis Hopper's taking photos of himself with Polaroids.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Improvised. The scene of him singing the Ballad of Easy Rider on the balcony. Improvised, right?
Oh,
all of this is driving Bruno Ganz in mental. That, like, that he's being shot making up stuff on the spot. Like, he can't even wrap his brain around that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So they're in a scene together in that shop, and Dennis Hopper starts vamping, and Bruno Ganz, by all accounts, climbs over the counter and beats the shit out of Dennis Hopper. Knocks him on his ass right there. They go tumbling into the street. They're climbing on each other and beating each other. And then they go separate ways. They leave the set. So Vim's like, I guess we wrap for the day, right?
Like, oh dear.
They somehow end up at the same bar, and they end up drinking together the entire night. Through the Hamburg evening, the two of them are just face drunk. The crew is set up the next morning. As they're setting up camera, as they're setting up lighting, everything, Bruno Ganz and Dennis Hopper come stumbling toward the set arm in arm because they had not left the bar. They did not sleep. And Vin Benders was like, was just like, all right, we're not going to shoot today. But from that moment on, the two of them are best friends. So much so that from that moment on, Bruno Ganz, when he does films, starts to improvise a little bit.
Oh.
Dennis Hopper, opposite, starts studying his roles a little bit more. And the two of them sort of become like infused in each other's approaches for the rest of their careers.
That's amazing. That's real friendship right there.
Having witnessed this, Wim Wenders decides in that moment, because the film is being shot under the name Framed, because of the picture, and he also hates the name and also he hates Ripley's Game as a title, right? And also, like, the book wasn't even published yet, so he felt like he had some room, right? Yeah. From that moment on, the film's called The American Friend. Like, he named it right after their sort of situation, and also the idea that Ripley came in, and becomes a friend. Yeah. From this position of this, sneaky, manipulative human. Also, he thought it was more interesting because Dennis Hopper came up with the idea of Ripley changing his mind.
Really?
And that was more interesting to Wim than just being an immoral character.
It's almost as though Wim said, okay, I've got this book that hasn't been published yet. Right. And it's really interesting, but it's not quite there. Right. Because ultimately you're right. Like, how I see Tom Ripley as a character who is in fact well known, right? Because it is, he's in 5 books. There have been multiple versions of both TV and movies. Of these 5
series
books.
Currently.
Thinking about it from that aspect, I would say on its face, it was like, oh, it's Tom Ripley, but you're absolutely correct in that it does a change partway through. It does shift. Yeah. And it is something a little different. And it's almost as though Benders just took the outline and went, what a nice place to start from, but maybe I can go someplace else with it, which is interesting.
Yeah. You know what? After the credits of this show, I'm going to tell you one more Dennis Hopper story.
Ooh, okay.
But now, awesome. You know what time it is? Do you? It's time for America's favorite segment. Let's franchise this, baby.
Woo! My favorite part.
If you are just tuning in, this is the segment where Devin and I repurpose the content of the movie we were just talking about and turn it into something we can make money with today. And when I mean money, I mean like whore money, like working the corner cash.
Like it. Yeah. I'm all excited about that horror money.
So this week is a little bit of a challenge because we were doing The American Friend, which is based on the Ripley books, which are called what, Devin?
The Ripleyad. And there are 5 of them.
Can you name all 5?
Yes. Only because I have them written down. Okay. The Talented Mr. Ripley, Ripley Underground.
I knew that
Ripley's
one.
Game.
I knew that one.
The Boy Who Followed Ripley. And Ripley Underwater.
Ripley Underwater?
Yep.
Does he become like Aquaman? Like what happens? Is it an underwater treasure story?
I think people get murdered by drowning.
Oh.
And is my understanding. And apparently it's the weakest of the 5. Everything I've read is they all go downhill after The Talented Mr. Ripley. They are each successively worse than the one before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we got to prevent that from happening.
We have to prevent that from happening. Yeah.
Maybe we just take the titles and just kind of, we keep Ripley the way he's supposed to be.
Yeah, we keep him. And I feel like we could make some quality changes to keep it consistent throughout.
Okay. So first and foremost, let's get our cinematographer because the atmosphere is the most important thing. But in this premise, Do we think we have the same cinematography for all 5 films? Or is it like an anthology thing where we mix and match?
No, I think we go the same because my brain goes to, and I know we've discussed this before, my brain goes to Harry Potter. Oh, look at that face. Hear me out. Because...
Oh, you're talking about in franchise scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like in a franchise scenario where if you go at it initially from it being an anthology, that is fine, but it has to be very obvious from the word go. And I'm not sure that it always is. So I think if you're capable of doing a consistent, the good answer is Lord of the Rings, right? Because they very clearly, it's the exact same.
One was exactly as boring as the next.
Thank you.
Right.
They are exactly consistently
boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would hope we wouldn't be consistently boring, but I like the idea of consistency.
Look, that consistently boring franchise made a lot of damn money, and that's why we're here.
That's right. You said you wanted to make horror money, and I got excited about that.
Cash money hoes is what I'm talking about. Devin.
That's what, So I think we go same director, same cinematographer, the whole same crew.
Same director for all 5. Okay, all right.
All 5.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
But what if the first one fails? Do we fire him and get rid of him? Or are we in for a pound?
I think that's always an option. Although I have to say this: if we've done our homework and our pre-work is quality,
the road to hell and whatnot,
right?
Yeah. Then
we should go into it having confidence that our first crew won't fail. We have to be confident in that first crew. I mean, yes, we can fire and rehire if necessary, but if we're doing a good job, it should be good out of the gate. We shouldn't have to worry about rehiring.
I think you're absolutely right. You're a good producer.
Thank you.
Right. You like we could be loose if it needs to be under the circumstances.
Right.
But the plan is going in there is a plan.
Exactly.
Right? Which is more thought went into that for this bit than the whole last Star Wars franchise. So who do you have as a cinematographer? Who would you bring to the meeting?
Frank Grebe or Frank Grebe.
Oh.
Because he's German. And I think that's because I came at it with the American friend in mind.
Right.
So even though there's been multiple versions of multiple of these books.
Right. One starring John Malkovich.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But I came at it from a very specific viewpoint of the American Friends and kind of that background. So Frank Grebe is the guy who did Run Lola Run, which is very much in my wheelhouse as like a movie that was a thing when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. He also did a weird little special one I love, Perfume, the Story of a Murderer, which is such a weird movie, but I love so much.
It's a great movie. I like that movie a lot too. It's a really fun movie.
Also, like a really delightful Alan Rickman vessel, or vehicle, shall we say.
What year did that come out?
Oh gosh, what year did that come out? I want to say, when did he pass away? 2016?
Yeah.
So I would say 2010 at the latest. Because I think it was one of his last ones.
Oh, okay. Story of a Murderer. Came out 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Close, not quite there.
Is that based on the book? I'm wondering. Is that the scentless person who works at the perfume factory?
Yeah. It's the scentless person who works at the perfume factory.
Fun fact, the Nirvana song Scentless Apprentice is based on that book.
Really?
Yep. Again,
total
junk
aside,
drawer right there. Junk drawer right there. In that brain. Yep.
I mean, if we do that movie at some point, we're going to use the Nirvana song. I feel like that just seems obvious.
Least the
Why
intro.
didn't they use it?
Yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah. So
now I feel like it's a fail that they didn't use it. But he did that. But also, I'd say he's probably most well known for Cloud Atlas, which visually is interesting. That's how I went at it.
I went at it with Jaron Blaish. Great choice, by the way. I think that is a solid choice.
Thank you.
I went Jaron Blaish. If I'm pronouncing his name right, it's Blaish. Blashki. Blashki.
You keep talking about him. I'm going to Google him and figure out if I
It might even be Yaron. Now that I think
Oh,
about
it might be Yaron.
It might be Yaron. No umlauts, though, I don't think.
No,
So it's not
umlauts?
like J, Abba, A, R-I-N. Yeah. So anyway, he worked on all of the Eggers stuff. He's being nominated up the face right now for Nosferatu, but he also did The Lighthouse. So
Okay.
That's my first choice.
Okay.
My second choice
all right,
is
all right.
Emmanuel Lubezki, who did Birdman, which is famously that one shot
yeah.
deal. Well, it's not real one shot, but the
Right.
big winner.
But yeah.
With Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
He did The Revenant, which I keep referring to as the Bear movie. Right?
I
I
mean,
have a friend
who
Jim
doesn't?
who like loves that movie, and he's like, "Did you see The Revenant yet?" I haven't seen it. I'm like, "You mean the one with the bear?" Because I saw that in the trailer. I'm like, "Yeah, the one with the bear." So yeah, and they did Burn After Reading for the Coen brothers as well.
Which is really an interesting mix of films.
Yeah. So that's why I think
Ooh.
he's quite capable of handling. Another choice is a really underhanded one that,
Mhm.
and we haven't mentioned a budget yet on our series, but it's five movies. It's going to be.
It's 5 films. It's
Yeah.
going to be a big budget. I mean, if you're going to treat it like a series and we go into it knowing we're doing all 5 books,
Yeah.
then I think we have a big budget. I think we treat it a bit like a blockbuster and we have a big budget.
All right. Then this guy doesn't even matter. We can kick him to the curb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because if I have the money,
Oh,
I don't need
okay.
to go. I don't need to backpedal like this. And
No,
also, it's the
no,
most
no.
important character is the atmosphere. So we
Right.
go big.
I mean, I would say both of yours are really interesting choices.
Yours is a
for
great
sure.
choice too. So
Thank you.
Good meeting.
I'm not. Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
I don't know.
Who do you have for Ripley? Oh, also wait. We should also establish because are we going to ensemble this? Because I think there should be characters that go through the series.
Yes.
Like there should be like a
Yes,
detective
okay.
that almost catches him at the end of every movie.
Okay. So if we do that, then so arguably Ripley is the same throughout,
Yeah.
obviously. He gets married in the second book. Her name is Heloise Plisson, and I believe she's French. So the wife has to be the same. Our criminal friend, Reeves Minot, I know it appears as though he may not, they try to murder him in American Friend, but we don't really know if he survives or not. He's in multiple of the
Okay.
books. So I think he's somebody. And then of course, what is his name? Bernard Tufts is the name of the painter who pretends to die.
Does he appear in all the?
So
He's in all
he's
the
it.
books?
He's not in all of them, but he's in several
Okay.
of them because the whole storyline of
I got him cast already in my brain
selling-
right now. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so the storyline of or that B plot line of them selling the works of the guy who's not actually dead, that is in several of the books. That
Oh,
storyline
good because it's a
kinda
great
goes throughout.
grift. It's a great
right?
grift.
It's a good grift. It's really interesting. And it comes up later in like different ways in some of the other
Right.
stories. So those for sure are kind of the main ones is Ripley, his wife, Minot, and then the artist. And then let's see here. The second book, Ripley Underground, is where we have an Inspector Webster.
Mm.
And I would say that who's trying to catch him. So maybe Inspector Webster could turn into the guy that's kind of the cop throughout.
Right. I was going to say, because there's a different inspector in Talented Mr. Ripley than there is in the second. Yeah. Let's just make it the same guy.
Right. So let's now. Oh, and we'll make him Interpol.
Yes. So he can
Because
go through,
he's
got to have a European.
Because that's the other thing that I realized as we were as I was kind of going through it.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm correct about this. Interpol can
Yep.
go from all the different countries in Europe, right? Or is it?
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Interpol is all over Europe because the books move throughout New York,
I knew that. I had
Italy.
to explain it to Susan.
Oh,
No, I didn't. Know
poor
that.
Susan.
I didn't.
I
know
mean,
that.
Susan
Or
does
me,
need everything.
Really, actually.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
All right, fine. But yeah, so New York, Italy, France, Germany, for sure.
Right.
And so we need a cop that can go everywhere. So technically he can't go to New York, but I feel like it's Interpol.
New York
we can give him an
liaison.
excuse.
New York
There you
liaison.
go.
Because in my brain, I know James Bond's in trouble, right? As a franchise,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
It's tied up between Amazon and Barbara Broccoli, right?
Barbara Broccoli's got the last say.
Yeah.
And Amazon is messing it up. Amazon, you can't rule the world.
Frankly, they're messing up a lot of things, right? The Washington Post. We can go
Like
on.
I said,
But
you can't rule the world.
no, but you can keep James Bond tied up while we make our douchebag alternative to James
Yes.
Bond. Because if there's anything that the TV show Ripley has taught me with what's his name, Andrew Scott, right? It is so much fun to watch Ripley wiggle out of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if we can turn that into sort of but give it like a James Bond vibe, except everything he does is criminal, horrible, and murderous.
Yeah.
You know, it's James Bond without the badge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if
that.
you want to turn him into an anti-hero, like an anti-capitalist one, like maybe loosely based on Luigi Mangione, that's probably a terrible idea, but definitely do it. I would say it's I don't want to get in the way of the writer's interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
but I say we franchise that as an alternative to James Bond and almost intentionally like make it look like it in marketing, right?
I like that.
That might be a different meeting, but that's my thought and my
I like it a lot, actually.
Sketch,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So Ripley needs to be that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a few candidates. You want to give me yours?
Barry Keoghan.
From
Saltburn.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a great choice.
Because Ripley needs to be imperfect.
Yeah.
But also perfect. He needs to be
great choice.
Devious, but charismatic. There's so many elements to him that are complicated. And I just thought, right?
I see it.
And that's who I think could pull it off.
I think that's our first candidate. I think that's the one we lead in with, right?
Yep.
I went with, I had three choices.
Okay. Tell me.
One was Anthony Starr of The Boys.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Tobias Menzies.
What do I know him from?
He's in The Crown. He played Prince Philip in The Crown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? He was Brutus in Rome. If you've ever seen that series, that was actually really good. And he was Edmure Tully in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Right.
I think I know who you're talking about.
That's my first choice, right?
Okay. That's your first choice. Okay.
David Tennant.
Yeah, he could be really perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
I would have a hard time passing up David Tennant because I love David Tennant.
But David Tennant could also play the detective.
Oh my God, David Tennant would be perfect as our detective. Oh, I love that even better.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
David Tennant works better because my initial thought with the detective was to make him look as douchey as Ripley actually is. Which there's only one choice, which is Giovanni Ribisi. but
Yep. I got it.
But David Tennant is the lie we tell the audience because David Tennant would make the audience think he's eventually going to get him.
That is true.
The audience will believe 100% it's just a matter of time before Tennant gets him. And they will fall for it through the duration of 5 films.
They will.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let's do David Tennant on the detective.
Then I think it's Barry Keoghan and David Tennant. I think them together is
I agree.
Beautiful.
I agree.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
All right, but I still need to cast Giovanni in a role that's like, we need somebody to represent like the inside of, because Ripley is handsome, right? But inside he clearly isn't, right?
You know what? Actually,
I want a visual representation of that.
Okay. I don't know how you feel about this, but based on my understanding of the final book,
right.
I think he could be the other main character in Ripley Underwater, which is David Pritchard. The description kind of to me is the Pritchard. So it's a married couple, David and Janice Pritchard. And I have the feeling that he is. Read the synopsis of the final book, and I kind of think that's perfect.
Right. Okay.
Because we have to have, in addition to sort of like the 5 characters that kind of consistently would be throughout.
Right.
Each story will have a couple of additional leads based on that story.
Right.
And I feel like he could bring it home then, because the final one is Ripley Underwater, and I think. Yeah, you're going to have to read the synopsis of Ripley Underwater, because I feel like now it's Giovanni Ribisi.
Which in our Bond analogy is Live and Let Die.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 5 people got that joke. Shout out to you. Right? But as the artist guy, Nick Nolte. It's Nick Nolte.
Aw, damn it. Okay, that's better than my picks.
Who was your
right,
pick?
fine. I had 2.
Right.
I went with a little like outside your standard. So I did Ewan Bremner.
Okay.
Who is
That's not a bad choice at all. Yeah.
Because he's so delightfully kooky, and that character is really goofy, right? Because it's a really weird guy. You faked your own death to sell your art, and then I think at some point he does get murdered. Either gets murdered or commits suicide. So I'm like, yeah, it's got to be a kooky guy. So that, or because much of the story takes place in France, I thought Vincent Cassel would be one that was. I'm trying to think of what he was in Black Swan. He's a French actor. He's a very popular French actor, but he was in Black Swan. He was in a couple of the.
I'm sorry. Anytime I ever hear that film referenced, I shut down.
Oh, sorry.
No, you didn't do it intentionally. You didn't know.
Okay.
It's a physical response.
Know. Okay.
Go ahead.
See, I hear that, and immediately I hear my husband in my ear going, blah, 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 because that's what he does whenever you think about Swan Lake.
I was perfect.
Yes, exactly.
That's up there with Halle Berry's "Make Me Feel Good."
Oh my God!
Yeah,
yes.
I said it.
Yeah. Right there. You said it.
Do you know that? I'll tell you the story really quick. That actually had come up. It was around the time of my birthday when that second X-Men movie had come out, and a bunch of us went to see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of our close friends told me and my friend Kevin not to sit near each other because we would talk through the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
We were very good. We promised we were very good. And then there was a scene where Halle Berry is talking to this character named Nightcrawler. And she had just won an Oscar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in these X-Men movies, she is, maybe it's the direction, maybe it's the writing, she's awful is the Storm character. She's terrible. There's one point where she's talking to the character and she's sucking her lips like she's going to cry. But it's like when a little girl's pretending she's going to cry. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, it goes on for a minute. She's like, and at this point, I couldn't help it. And also, I was a few drinks in, and I just went, "Make me feel good," and the whole theater erupted in laughter. Yeah. It was my birthday. I got away with it. But yeah,
I mean, you can do what you want on your birthday. I get it.
That's what happened.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Now I forget where I was. Oh, Vincent Cassel. Okay.
Yes.
Black Swan.
Right.
Okay, so he was in who is that director? The Messenger, was it the late 90s, early 2000s? The Messenger, Joan of Arc, the one that starred
That's yeah.
Okay, he's in that.
It starred not Jane Whelan.
Not Jane Whelan. Mila Jovovich.
Right, yeah.
And is Luc Besson, right? Luc Besson, she was married to him for a while.
Yes.
And he was the director. Okay. So I think, he's in that.
He did all like the Resident Evil movies too, didn't he?
Did he? Yes, I think he did actually.
Yeah.
I think he did. So I feel like, okay. So if
look
you
at
just
me
Google,
knowing all the trash.
I love it. If you look up Vincent Cassel, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know his face and I've seen him in things. Like he's just got that right vibe.
Right.
But you did a better job than me. I mean, I don't know how we argue with Nick Nolte.
I got the Minot character too. Now that I think about it, just occurred to me.
Oh, okay. Well,
and
then
it pays tribute to Wim Wenders, right?
Okay.
The Minot character. Oh, see, now I'm second guessing it. Eli Roth, because he's a director.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that
also
is very different than what I went.
looks the part.
Okay.
Well, you saw him in
I
saw Inglourious Bastards, right?
Yeah.
He was the Bear Jew. That's Eli Roth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that is so different than what I did.
What did you do? Did you just cast Vin Benders? Because that's my second choice.
No.
Right.
I actually went Kingsley Ben-Adir.
Oh, that's good too.
Because I just thought he would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And even though I feel like anybody listening is going to be like, Ken's best friend from Barbie?
Yeah.
But, right, they're going to say that. But I'm like, no. But I mean, when you think about like Secret Invasion and he was in Peaky Blinders.
You watched Secret Invasion? The Marvel thing?
Well,
you put yourself through that? Why?
Okay, so we watch all the Marvel stuff, but in fairness, if I'm honest, I slept through most of the episodes.
Yeah, that one I saw the trailer and I was like, I ain't doing that. And this is coming from someone who I actually produce a comic book show, right? Like,
yes, no, I
real
understand.
life, and like, am counting down the days to Daredevil season 4, right?
Right.
I saw the Secret War Invasion, and I was like, what are we doing?
Okay, so
how bad was it? I'm not saying that to put you down. I want to know how bad it was.
I can't really tell you because, like I said, when did we watch it? Oh, I literally watched it.
Yesterday.
We watched a few episodes. While your wife was visiting me.
Oh,
your wife and daughter were visiting me, and we had other family members here. And I think there was a night where we'd all just were so excited to have family in town, and we all had.
You decided to ruin it. You were like, let's just ruin it right now. This is too good.
Everybody was just so tired, and it was something Brian was like trying to watch. So he and everybody was like, "We're too tired to argue."
You know,
so
my daughter shuts down when she sees superheroes, right? Like any superhero, she will not watch it. She used to love like the little Spider-Man cartoons when she was little.
Yeah.
When she sees, and I don't know how she assembled the words in this order, but like she will see the Marvel logo and she goes, "No, I hate these heroes," and she walks off.
I love that.
Yeah, I hate these heroes, and walks away.
She might have been going to bed because I think the kids may have been put to bed, and I think everybody was just really tired because we don't always get. Listeners, we don't live near each other. So when we do get family time, we're aggressive with our family time because we're so happy to see each other.
Right. And although this is although this is on a Rhinebeck radio station, I don't want to work with anybody in Rhinebeck.
That's right.
I'm working with my cousin before I work with anybody in Rhinebeck.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. So honestly, I only saw like a couple of episodes and then I pretty much slept through it. So I really can't tell you. You'd have to ask Brian. I pretty much passed out. I don't even really know how it ends.
All right. Well.
But nonetheless, he did these other things. Like I said, like Peaky Blinders. And, he was in Agatha Christie's Marple. And I fucking love Miss Marple. And I know you have to bleep me, but that's how much I love her.
Yeah.
So, he was in that. And then, like I said, he was in Secret Invasion. And
Miss Marple's great.
I love that little old biddy. Just using her brain power.
Yeah,
to
that was
solve
adorable.
Crimes.
She was very good. Yeah.
Oh, so fun. I love that lady so much.
Okay, now here's the issue I'm running into with the talented Mr. Ripley part of it, right? Because we're here. Because it was just a series, do we set it in Italy or do we change that up to separate it from the series?
No, we don't change it up.
Well, should we get the data from Netflix first? Like, how many people actually watched it? You know what I mean?
That's true.
Right.
The way I see it, I think if we go into it knowing we're doing all 5, I think we follow that. So I think we use all the locations. We start in New York, we go to Italy, we go to France, we go to Germany, we go back to France. I think we hit all those places because that is where the story is.
And in the rewrite, can we make it all cohesive? Like it's like as if it's one piece and just take elements from all of them and turn it into one long series of grips and murders, right?
Yeah. Well, and honestly, if you look at the synopsises of all the books, synopsis. Is that Latin? Is it synopsi or is it synopsis?
I like synopsi, but I also
so I'm
like
gonna say
octopi and ridiculi.
Ridiculi is amazing.
Yeah. We are ridiculi,
We are ridiculi.
in fact.
And my other one, craptacular. We're ridiculi and craptacular
Yeah. In the right measure.
in equal measure, 100%.
And cruel to be kind.
You got that right.
Right.
So if we take the series as a whole, we look at the synopsi of all of them, they
Right.
are relatively cohesive, or at least
Right.
the first 3 for sure are,
Mm.
because you've got characters that go throughout. So like our art guy, Bernard, he's in the second one, he's in the third one. The wife is in multiple, like, yeah, she's in a bunch of them. So like,
Mm.
there is a cohesion because you are following this one guy and his storyline. So like Tom gets Dickie Greenleaf's fortune by pretending to be Dickie, right?
Right.
Well, when he marries his wife in the second one, he's using Dickie's fortune and that is referenced. That's how he lives his fancy life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
So these
You're
are
going to love the
elements
series,
that
by the way. You're going to love the series.
you are, right?
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it because I'm like, I'm going to get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
I am. Well, and also because I do love Andrew Scott. I think he'll be.
He's great.
I think I'm gonna-
I watched the whole thing already. He's amazing in it.
Yeah,
amazing
I'm going
in
to
it.
enjoy it. But yeah, so the books do connect and those storylines and there are plot elements that go throughout and you have characters that go throughout. So I think we have that already. And so I think it's safe to keep aspects of those stories because like this one, so Ripley's Game, it doesn't take place in Germany the whole time. Their family home is in France. So a good chunk of it is in France. They go to Hamburg for one of the murders, I want to say. And then I
Right.
think they go to Munich for one of the murders. But the rest of it's taking place in France.
Okay. Well, I'm asking also because I didn't pick who might score this. And because
I
I'm
didn't
so familiar
either.
with the show soundtrack, I'm very
Mhm.
familiar with the show soundtrack because it also pulls a lot of 50s and 60s
Ooh,
Italian
okay.
music. And I only know that because Mike Patton once performed 50s and 60s Italian standards with an orchestra on an album
What?
and video called Mondo Cane, and I can't recommend it enough. It's unbelievable. It's incredible.
Mondo Kanye.
Yeah, but I know a lot of those tunes
Mm-hmm.
from that specific place,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But also the person who scored the Ripley soundtrack was incredible. So I don't think I could, off the top of my head like that, just say Mark Mothersbaugh and be done with it because it's not that.
Right.
Yeah, it's not that simple. Especially if we're going to all these different places with their own musical identities and
With their own
architecture.
identities.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean that we'll have to come back to that, or let somebody else make that decision.
I mean, that's true.
A
Because
smarter
honestly,
intern.
for
we'll
me,
claim credit for it, but like
of course,
some plebe.
of course, we'll claim credit
Yeah.
for it.
Mhm.
But I feel like I never want to pick who scores it because I just know your answers. Your suggestion's always going to be better when it comes to the music.
Thank
So
you,
I'm
but
like-
I'm drawing a blank on this one. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
just leave that one blank.
Right.
I do have a couple other characters though that I want to run by you
Go
because I do
ahead.
think I've picked a few.
Who's
Okay.
Jesse Plemons playing? Right.
Crap, he's not on my list. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I did a real aggressive researching. As soon as I knew I wanted Barry Keoghan,
Mhm.
part of the thing about Dickie Greenleaf from The Talented Mr. Ripley is they look similar enough. They don't look exactly alike, but they look kind of similar. So Ty Sheridan, I was like, so he has
Good.
to be Dickie Greenleaf because he
Yeah.
looks enough like Barry Keoghan for that to work.
Mhm.
And then I decided Marge, the girlfriend in today's world, I want it to be Sydney Sweeney or Sabrina Carpenter because that feels real obnoxious,
Solid. Those are
right?
solid.
Like either one would be fine.
Solid.
And then the wife, Heloise, is French, and I went with Leah Seydoux
Huh.
because I was like,
Yeah.
I know she's maybe a tiny bit older. She is not old. She is under 40. But I think maybe she's a tiny bit older than the other cast, but I don't care because she's beautiful and she moisturizes and she's perfect.
I mean,
I
I would
think she's
have
perfect.
just went like, okay, Ana de Armas and we just make her go wee wee a bunch of times and we're good.
I mean, it would have been an option,
But this is why I'm not right. This is why I'm not a producer, right? That right there, because for every for every one good choice, I'll make 5 bad ones
Okay,
like
that's
this
fair.
one. Right?
Then when it came to, because then I felt like we had to focus on Ripley's game because that's obviously what we've just watched,
Right.
essentially. Okay,
A little
then
bit of Underground, isn't it? As well?
Yeah, a little
Ripley
bit of Underground.
Yeah.
but I felt like I kind of had Germany stuck in my head.
Mm.
So then I did a little bit of work that way. So
And you were
I
like
thought,
craft work.
Yeah. So even though, okay, so his name is Jonathan Zimmerman
Yes.
in The American Friend, but Johnny Trevani is what his name is in the book,
Right.
that character. I thought Daniel Bruhl, who is
Who is
you know who I'm
Daniel?
talking about?
No. Who is Daniel Bruhl?
You're gonna get so mad
Because I
the
have this
thing you're
character
gonna-
cast too. I had Misha Collins.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. I like that.
Okay.
No, I
either
went
one.
Daniel Bruhl because I was going like German. You're gonna hate me. He's Helmut Zemo in the Marvel movies.
I know who he is. Yeah. I know who
Okay,
he is.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yes.
Because I was like,
he's also he's in Inglourious Bastards as well. It's where he comes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was the other
yeah.
thing I had written down. Yeah,
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards, and he's I
Right.
think in like one of the Bourne movies. Yeah, so I was like, oh, but Misha Collins would be really fun.
Yeah,
That'd be really fun.
neither are bad choices, I don't think. So
No.
either way, those is really good.
All right.
So I think
and
that
then for his wife, I totally went
Ana de
Sandra Bullock.
Armas.
No, it was Sandra Bullock because she speaks German.
Sandra Bullock.
Not because I feel like we need
Do you
to
know
hire
last
Sandra
week
Bullock.
when we were trying to turn The House of Yes into a musical?
Yes.
That was the name that escaped me when I was like, we need somebody really milquetoast for the Tori Spelling character. And I couldn't get Sandra Bullock's name, and that was. I mean, we
okay.
ended up with Sugar from the Bear, but
Right.
yeah, and she's also in the wheelhouse of where they are age-wise. But like that was the example I was going to give for like someone just completely, or the character she plays. I don't know what she's like. In real life, but
No,
like,
I know what you
she's-
mean.
She could be complete.
Yeah, milk toast. No, I get it.
Yeah, boom.
Aesthetically, we were looking for milk toast.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. No,
that
I
was the
just
name that escaped me.
literally
But Sandra Bullock,
got I got a little chuckle because I was like, oh, she speaks German, and if we hang on to the German element, although I feel
you can
like
have an older
maybe-
wife. Like you can have that.
Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Why not? And also, Misha Collins and Sandra Bullock would work. I feel
Mhm.
like, I mean
Yeah.
that, right? It works,
Yeah.
right?
It's a good couple.
It is a good couple. And I
Yeah.
thought that could be very fun.
Yeah. I mean, is it Jason Momoa and
Lisa Bonet.
that's it? Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
they're
divorced.
divorced.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I
For a
wanted them
little
to
while
find
now.
happiness forever.
I know, me too.
Because I want Lisa Bonet to be happy forever.
Thank you, me too.
Yeah.
I do want her to be happy forever.
Yeah.
but-
All right. Well, that's
Okay.
sad.
It
But-
is sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Tell me again.
But I'm not going to let that keep me from casting either of them in the future. Just so you know.
I mean,
I'm not
I
gonna
agree
be
with that.
guy, you know.
Yeah.
Even together, like in a remake of Arthur. That'd be horrible.
No, I would watch it. Even if
Yeah.
it was horrible, I would watch it.
We would just have no film in the camera. Well, there's no films anymore anyway. But like we just like we're shooting, but we're just doing it as an elaborate
But we're doing
prank.
nothing.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm,
We just
mhm.
make Lisa Bonet and Jason
I'm
Momoa
down
show
for
up to
it.
a set
Yep.
and just play some Christopher Cross crap in the background. Like, no, yeah, you're doing Arthur stuff.
You're
Go.
like, no, go. We're good. We're
You're
good.
pretending to shoplift a tie and action.
It's perfect. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like we got it.
I think we're off to the races with our franchise.
I think we are off to the races. I'm feeling good about this.
Me too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, that is our show this week. And hang on, Devin. After the boilerplate, I got a story to tell you.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a story.
So anyway, thank you for joining us this week on Studio Property. We're your studio property. Next week, we will be doing the original Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3
Yes.
with my favorite sentient mastiff, Walter Matthau, and Robert Shaw.
I'm very excited about
Yeah,
it.
and Ernest Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine. I'm
And
very
most
excited.
important character in that film, New York City. So yeah, great movie. Very excited about it. Have you ever seen the original?
No,
Oh, okay. You're gonna love it.
no, I have
Yeah,
not.
and we might even have a special guest for it too. So yeah,
Woo,
really
I do love a
good.
special guest.
So in the meantime, we are your studio property. My name's Doug Wartell.
I'm Devin Irby.
And scene.
Studio Property is mixed at Spillway Street Content in Red Hook, New York, and syndicated on Radio Free Rhinecliff. Theme song by The Corner Bodega. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram at Studio Property Show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, so I'm going to tell you this story really quick. All right.
Tell me.
All right. Dennis Hopper showed up to a university in Texas, right? And he was going to do, this is like 82 or 83, and he was going to do a Q&A on his film, Out of the Blue, right? To show his film, he's going to do a Q&A, talking about directing it, putting it together, co-writing it. And what had happened was, for some reason, he got it in his head to get there a week early. And they were like, we're not showing that this week. So this week we're doing Taxi Driver. And he was like, well, I'll be more than happy to do commentary and a Q&A. They're like, sir, you did not make Taxi Driver. Like, he had to be told, you cannot make Taxi, you didn't make Taxi Driver. So what business, that doesn't even make sense. So he was like, all right, well, not only am I showing up for my gig, but I'm doing a special surprise. And his management arranged it all. So if you were there that day or that evening and you had your student badge with you, you got to see Dennis Hopper do a Q&A on Out of the Blue and got to watch the film. Well, the lights go up and they make a special announcement that, hey, everybody, get on these buses outside because Mr. Hopper is going to the local derby track and he is going to do a stunt called the Russian Death Chair. And he showed up with a stuntman friend of his, and this is what was happening. So they show up they get to the derby, right? The racetrack. There is a derby happening at the time, and the announcement's made over the PA. Well, there's a person of note who's come here from Hollywood, California. He's going to blow himself with dynamite. Now, if you're in Texas, you are stopping whatever the hell you are doing to see that, right? So the guy he had learned it from was real serious about it. He was like, apparently had done it a few times and taught Dennis Hopper to like sort of to go on this, to sit in a certain way while sticks of dynamite were placed around him. And what would happen was the explosion would be such that it would make the suction in the air pull you off the ground. So you would essentially be above the explosion in the chair and then land, and then that would be it, right?
Oh, okay.
So apparently he told everyone he was going to do this. Vim flew in for this and shot it, and you can watch it on YouTube.
Really?
The story gets even weirder. So like he gets in the chair, they place the dynamite, and boom, right? And all you see is smoke, and then eventually Dennis Hopper emerges from the smoke. Right. The account of witnesses is that he flew quite high in the air and landed, but that's not in the shot. Right. But he emerges from the smoke and he is barrel. Right. He's in the camera. Like there's a camera waiting for him. And he's like, hey, man. Like he was like, that was wild, man. Right. And he's like, I can't hear anything. It's like I got punched by Muhammad Ali. Like it is crazy, right?
Okay.
Like this guy, this is what it was like though for like some of these personalities. Like Dennis Hopper was like, what can I do to be interesting? I don't know. Like De Niro's not blowing himself up.
No.
There are so many wild Hopper stories. His first movie was Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean. He was later in Giant, right?
Yeah.
What
character was he in Rebel Without a Cause?
Thug. He played Thug,
okay.
right? So.
Oh, okay. Got
it. But the moment he meets James Dean that's it. He's going to be an actor, and he has this sort of weird. James Dean sort of becomes like a talisman to him, like his worship of him after he dies is insane. So much so he owns a ring that like one of James Dean's girlfriends had. It wasn't even given to him by James Dean. James Dean meets him and like he's sort of pestered by Hopper, but you know, after he passes away, like he becomes like this weird ghost figure to Hopper in real life, where he's like, well, you know, James Dean, and he would touch the ring like it was given to him. It was weird stuff with Hopper. Okay. The stories of Hopper's weirdness are endless, but on that day when he blew himself up, when he left Texas, he went to Mexico for a while and came back Republican and real different, like real, like an adult. Like I'm not making a political joke. I'm like that's what happened. Like he became like committed to normalcy in a way that you would otherwise, like the Easy Rider guy, like like heads into the mid to late 80s and 90s, like sober and just like, you know, he's still like off because he's Dennis Hopper, right? But on that day, he did a Russian death chair. An actor did this in front of college students for no reason.
Okay. And now that you've told that story, I think we have to take a break from Dennis Hopper. I'm going to need a little bit of a break, at least for a month.
Yeah.
We can't do another Dennis Hopper film for a little while.
So we're going to wait till the summer to get to like Blue Velvet.
Oh, you're going to make me watch Blue Velvet again?
Well, I mean...
yeah, I'm going to need a break before then.
I mean, we can go to a different Lynch, but we'll take this decision off the air. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, we can do that because